an expert witness provides a very, very important aspect to the overall trial, because they can put the information into language, hopefully, that the jury can understand, which is one of the difficult things about being an expert witness, not to be too technical, to bring it down to the level.
I think it's really the expert witness's job to analyze the data and try to present it in a format, you know, that the jury can really understand what the facts of the case are.
To have expertise, he has to have more knowledge in a given subject than the average layperson. You can't just take a good qualified accountant and pop him up on the witness stand and expect him to be effective. The way in which he tells the story is very important.
You have to be believable. They have to hear what you're saying, and they have to understand and want to believe what you're telling them.
Most importantly is using simple examples.
I think that they need to be calm, you know, and communicate well. And I think the key is, you know, that you're trying to communicate to people who are non-accountants and who are not an expert in the field. So to me, the biggest thing is, you know, keep it simple, trying to use, you know, general terminology that people can understand so that they can really relate to what are the facts, you know, in the case.
Just going through in a humdrum, drone kind of voice, you'll lose them completely, and they'll just quit listening no matter how simple you make it.
All I have to do is tell the truth. And as long as I'm telling the truth, I'm in great shape.
Be very respectful in the way you're answering the question and be able to concisely answer things, because most of the time those judges have a pretty good understanding of the things that you're talking about anyway.
I think that they tend to like experts who are more down to earth rather than somebody who tries to talk down to them.
A good lawyer will prepare his expert witness well in advance of trial to answer the question directly, to communicate with the jury by speaking to the jury when you're giving your answers, to use language that the jury can understand. Witnesses also, to be credible, need to be taught to respect the jury.
It's the defense's job to show the jury that there are alternatives to that. And one of the things that you have to do is just be prepared to respond to those questions and to be honest. And I'm not afraid to say, I don't know. If they try to just use hypothetical situations or imaginary documents, then you have to bring it back to, you know, I'm testifying about specific documents and facts as I know them. Now, if there's a fact out there that I wasn't aware of, then sure, I'll be glad to consider it.
I believe very much in the jurors' ability to sort through the valid science and to form an opinion as to whether or not they should accept the opinion of the expert. The jurors are allowed to consider the appearance of the witness, whether they seem to be candid and honest while on the witness stand. And what we ask our jurors to do is to consider all of those things that you would consider if you were talking to a person outside the courtroom about a very important matter. As human beings, we all have ways, we think, of determining whether we're being told the truth.
First of all, you have to get the trust of the jury to start with by having the right background and experiences and abilities that they can relate to. The next thing that you have to do is just be yourself. I mean, you can't go into that jury and be, you know, phony. You can't try to be somebody else. You have to be yourself, because people will know and the jury can see through that.
It all will boil down to whether or not the expert is truly an expert in the area, and whether or not that expert's well prepared and is able to communicate.
My opinion is going to be my opinion. You can pay for my time, but you can't pay for my opinion.
In cases I've used charts, flip charts for example, to try to explain things to them.
I try to remember, and I do remember, that the jury is the most important group of people in that courtroom. It's not the judge, it's not the attorneys, it's that jury. So when I'm asked a question, I listen to the question, I understand the question, I only answer that question. I don't go off on some tangent. But when I respond to the question, I don't respond to the attorney, I respond to the jury. I look at them. I try to make eye contact. I try to let them know that I am there for them. they're more important than anybody else in the room, and I try to make that connection.
Most effective thing to be an expert witness and to make you even more effective than the other individual is to keep it simple, use visuals, any type of a chart or graph or something that shows, what you're trying to explain to the jury seems to be most effective, than just talking, endlessly in a jury box.
I don't talk condescendingly, I don't talk over their heads, I don't try to talk to them like they're stupid. They're smart people. I trust juries. I think juries are very good.
My understanding under AICPA standards, the code of conduct is pretty clear that if you're serving as the auditor for a client, that you're not supposed to take an advocacy role with that client, and either in fact or in appearance.